Very good morning to you all. This is Dr. Hari Teja, and this is the second kind of lecture or second video in important bodies. I already been communicated in the first part itself that we are dealing with the important bodies, right? Under that, we already dealt with one of the body, which is nothing but Niti Aayog. Now we are dealing with the NGT, right? National Green Tribunal. What is meant by tribunal actually? A tribunal is also a court which has the same status like a high court, equal status of high court, but why these tribunals came into part? Do Constitution told about tribunals? Now, Constitution Part 14A deals with tribunals. What the tribunal will do actually, suppose you are an IAS officer in a district, and when you are going by an act, it hurts people or somebody filed a case against you, and you are going to file a case against on him itself also, right? Him or her. So when you filed a case on him or her in Supreme Court or a High Court of concerned, then High Court or Supreme Court has already been filled with the most number of the cases. So what it turned to be actually, when you've been filed with the most number of the cases, then to disposal those cases, Supreme Court or High Court, it takes a lot of time actually, isn't it? It takes a lot of time. When it takes more number of time to disposal those cases, then it will be a trouble to you for your job also, isn't it? So that is the issue actually. Due to that, the government initiated for the speedy disposal of the cases for the particular organizations or the particular streams or the particular job profile, they have made it as a tribunal. So tribunal is something like a high court, and after that you can appeal it to the Supreme Court itself on these issues. So tribunal, a judgment has been given, it is as like a judgment of the High Court itself. You got to understand. So let's suppose there are more number of works that there in a shipyards, right? For all shipyard there will be a tribunal. So any case related to the shipyard or any person who are working in a shipyard, they can able to file the case in Supreme Court, High Court, any other district courts, and they can also file a case in tribunals also. When they file the case in a tribunal, the case will be at a speedy disposal. Now what will happen if you file a case in district court or Supreme Court or High Court? Your case might get a judgment on a particular issue, might be after 2 years or 3 years. But if you file a case in tribunal, you might get the judgment within a year. That is what the tribunal is all about. So now the second body under the series of the lecture is NGT, National Green Tribunal. What is this all about? Why we are studying? In GS paper 2, already been communicated in the before lecture in Niti Aayog, bullet point number 7 and 8, which talks about the bodies. Appointment to various constitutional posts, the functions and responsibility, blah blah blah, right? Statutory and regulatory. This is already been seen, and to understand these two bullet points, I'm just making tell you about almost 20 to 30 bodies, right? And coming to the point of NGT. NGT is a statutory body. Please make this point is very very important. NGT is a statutory body. Statutory body means to say what? Statutory body, it came by an act. You can able to find out this act is made by the parliament. Please make a point that this act is made by a parliament. When this act is made by a parliament, you can able to understand parliament has a power to take out this body, and a parliament has a power to invoke or revoke also, right? So when parliament has a power to create a body through an act, and when they are scrapping this act, automatically this body also goes out. So this kind of body, you call it as a statutory body. Understood my point? So this statutory body get the powers from section 3 of NGT Act 2010. You got my point? Right. So before this body, there is a National Environment Appellate Authority used to be existed, but this authority you can go, but it can't give judgments on particular issue. It's an authority which imposes, but it's not a body to implement things. So this is been scrapped down, and this NGT which came into picture. Now what NGT does? What is the objective of NGT? NGT is a body which deals with environmental protection cases, any cases related to the environmental protection, or any cases which are related to the conservation of forests. You got my point? Conservation of forest and other natural resources. Natural resources mean to say the air, water, soil, land, all these are natural resources, isn't it or not? So any cases related to the environmental protection, any cases which are related to the conservation of forest, any cases which are related to the natural resources. Natural resources have their own laws. Conservation of forest is also having Forest Act, they had their own laws. Environmental protection also had their own laws. So particular to these issues, these three issues itself, this body will deal, and this body will give a speedy judgment on the issues. You got my point? You understand the points? You got to understand, right? Right. So, and giving relief and compensation for damages to the persons and property. And see, suppose when they are giving judgment to a particular issue, what will try to happen? So when they particularly give some kind of a judgment, it hurts might be people, or already see some issue would be happened, then only the people will come to Supreme Court or tribunals, right? So that time they need some kind of a compensation or relief for the damage what it has happened to the persons or the property. That relief and compensation also will be provided by NGT through in the form of judgments, right? Any other matter related to which are referred to the or referred by president, or any other matter related to the particular above issues. You understood? This is what you call it as an objectives, right? Now what is the composition of NGT, sir? NGT will compose or compromise with a person called a full-time chairperson. A full-time chairperson will be existed, and we are dealing with the cases of conservation of forest, environmental protection, and natural resources. So these three laws are already existed, and now you are going to give judgment on those particular issues. So judgments can be given by whom? Only judicial members. So there should be at least 10, above at least 10, maximum 20 should be there. So 9 is not allowed, 21 is not allowed. And at the same time, when you are giving some kind of judgment also, it should be some kind of solution also that you should have to expect. You got my point? Because judges will know about the law matter. Judges can't able to know about the expertise of that particular issues. So expert members also need to be there. So now our thing is, what is the qualification for a full-time chairperson? What is the qualification for a judicial members? What is the qualification for expert members? You understand my point? So the composition of NGT is one chairperson, at least judicial members and expert members should be existed, right? Should be existed. And the qualification of a chairperson is, person should have been either the judge of Supreme Court of India or Chief Justice of High Court, because both are equal ranks, right? Supreme Court judge or Chief Justice of High Court of India. So the chairperson usually comes from a judge background, and he will be the head of Supreme Court, not fully head, one of the heads. Supreme Court judge of India Supreme Court, and at the same time any other person from the Chief Justice of High Court. This is the qualification of chairperson. Qualification of expert members. Expert members, I told you, 9 is not allowed and 21 is not allowed. 10 to 20 expert members have to be there, right? So they need to have 15 years of experience, and 15 years of administrative experience also required. If they had this kind of degree like Masters of Science in a Physical or Life Sciences with a doctorate degree, or Master in Engineering or Technology, or they can have 15 years of experience, or they need to have administrative experience. Any of the experience will be counted, but the experience need to be only 15 years. You understand my point, right? So 15 years of experience is required for a person, and that person should have at least MSc or MTech or Masters of Engineering, that too in Physical and Life Sciences. This is the qualification for expert members. And what is the qualification for judicial members then? These judicial members, the qualification already we discussed, 10 to 20 members have to be there, right? Appointment of members will be done by the central government itself. Chairperson of NGT is appointed by the central government in consultation with the Chief Justice of India, because out of 31 judges, one judge of Supreme Court will be the head of the NGT. Now when you are making a judge of 31 category to be a part of NGT, then you need to get consulted with the Chief Justice of India, right? Other members will be done by central government. But when you are appointing the NGT chairman, the central government will have to get consultation with the Chief Justice of India. And judicial members and expert members of the tribunal are appointed on the recommendation of the selection committee. That selection committee will comprise of Lok Sabha Speaker and Union Cabinet Ministers. Nothing much. Clear? Right. So what is the qualification of these persons exactly? So he should be a chairperson of judicial members, will be an expert members, will hold for 5 years. Chairperson, judicial members, expert members will hold for 5 years. Maximum age is 70. If he has been a Supreme Court judge and 16 years, he can be a High Court judge. You can appoint a person maximum up to 70 years. You can able to make that person to be a judge, and 67 years is this. Clear? And if you wanted to removal, chairperson can be removed from his office by an order itself. You can't remove directly him. You can remove that person by order by the central government after an inquiry made by the judge of Supreme Court. See how you need to remove the person. Before removing that person, what you need to do, there will be an inquiry committee will be existed by the Supreme Court, and if you find a reasonable opportunity, and he should have a reasonable opportunity to express his views, what he wanted to do, why he wanted to do, and those reasonable justification has been classified, then the Supreme Court gives okay, he has been done. Now the central government will remove that person on the basis of the Supreme Court committee reports. Understood? NGT will have jurisdiction on all civil cases related to the Schedule 1 of NGT Act. What is Schedule 1 of NGT Act? We will see. So NGT can deal with Water Act 1974. It can deal with Water Cess Act 1977, Forest Act, Air Act 81, Environmental Protection Act 1986, Public Liability Insurance Act, Biological Diversity Act. Related to all these kind of act, they can able to give judgments on the issue. You get my point, right? It deals with all kind of acts. So when they are dealing with these kind of judgments, judgment can be given by a judge obviously. So obviously you need to have judicial members, and judges only can deal by those kind of activities, but they can't be expert in those particular issues. So expert members required. That is what. So thank you for understanding this topic, and end of this thing I'll give you some questions, and you have to write it and mail me up. If you like the concept of and idea this thing, please share and like and subscribe. With regards, Dr. Hari Teja, Assistant Commissioner, Provident Fund. Thank you a lot. If you like the idea, please share, and we are going to have a next